Hi, I'm Bre McAdam, court reporter with the Saskatoon StarPhoenix, and this is the Docket, where I talk about the court cases that I've covered during the week. And this week, we had a decision in a high-profile trial involving a former Saskatoon police officer accused of assaulting 18-year-old Keller Bre during an arrest. On Wednesday, Jarrett Lane Gelowitz was found not guilty of the charge, prompting a burst of applause and cheers from his supporters. Now, the arrest was caught on police cruiser dash cameras back in December 2016. It all started when officers tried to pull over a stolen SUV and ended in a residential neighborhood on Saskatoon's east side after a dramatic and dangerous chase. The video shows Gelowitz punch through the driver's side window before dragging Bre out along with other officers and then kneeing Bre in the head. Now, the Crown argued that the last knee strike was unnecessary as Bre was already coming out the window and therefore constituted an assault. Gelowitz testified that the force he used was appropriate because Bre was resisting arrest. Bre testified that he doesn't remember resisting and that his knees could have been stuck underneath the steering wheel. In the end, Justice Richard Daniluk ruled that the video clearly shows Bre was uncooperative, ignored demands to put his hands up, and was actively resisting arrest. And he said while we have the ability to rewatch and analyze his actions down to the second, Gelowitz didn't have the luxury of time when he was forced to make quick decisions in a very chaotic situation. Now, you might remember that Gelowitz was fired from the police service last summer after a total of 3 on-duty assault allegations were made against him. Before Wednesday's acquittal, the other 2 assault charges were stayed and withdrawn. The Saskatoon Police Association is now calling for Gelowitz to be reinstated, saying the police service shouldn't have fired him before the criminal process was completed. The police service says Gelowitz was dismissed because he was unsuitable for the job, not because he was facing charges. A Police Act hearing is scheduled in September to deal with issues over Gelowitz's dismissal. And a repeat child lurer was designated a long-term offender yesterday, even though the Crown had proceeded with a dangerous offender hearing against Ethan James Ferguson. Ferguson was serving a sentence for unrelated child luring in 2017 when, while he was at a halfway house receiving sex offender programming, he started texting a 17-year-old boy begging him to send nude photos. Police discovered that Ferguson had been sexually abusing that boy since the victim was 8 years old after finding child pornography of the victim on Ferguson's phone. He was charged, pleaded guilty, and a dangerous offender hearing was held in April. Dangerous offenders can get indeterminate sentences while long-term offenders cannot. But in 2008, when Ferguson's offenses started, the law actually required indeterminate sentences for all dangerous offenders. It was then amended so that judges had discretion. So that means if Ferguson was designated a dangerous offender, he would be subject to an automatic indeterminate sentence, and the Crown didn't want that. Lawyers decided that they would enter into a joint submission and agreed on a long-term offender designation with a 7-year fixed-length sentence followed by a 10-year supervision order. Justice Daniluk accepted the joint submission and urged Ferguson to genuinely put effort into the high-intensity sex offender programming that he will get in prison. As always, you can read more detailed accounts of these stories at thestarphoenix.com, and to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at BreezyBreeMC.